Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Ora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Krsna Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Ora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya Te. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Ora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya Te. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Madana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Madana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Madana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Madana. Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Bhagavan, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Bhagavan, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Bhagavan, Jaya Jaya Shiva Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Shiva Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Shiva Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Shiva Prabhupada, Jaya 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 Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, 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 Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Hari Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shiva Sadeva Bhakta Vrinda, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shiva Sadeva Bhakta Vrinda, Mohana Govinda Rama, Krishna Mohana, Mohana Govinda Rama, Madana
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Gora Karuna Sorupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Gora Karuna Sorupaya, Radha Krishna Prestaya. Haribol!
Haribol, Krishna, Haribol, Krishna, Haribol.
Haribol Namaste. So let's start the study program. So let us continue first by reading what we have left yesterday. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pastimes of Lord Krishna, so I'll read first here the guidance that is being given to us by Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami in the Nectar of Devotion. Attracting Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami stated the devotional service attracts even Krishna. Krishna attracts everyone, but devotional service attracts Krishna. The symbol of devotional service is the highest degree is Radharani. Krishna is called Madana Mohana, which means that he is so attractive that he can defeat the attractions of thousands of cupids. But Radharani is still more attractive, for she can even attract Krishna. Therefore, devotees call her Madana Mohana Mohani, the attractor of Cupid. To perform devotional service means to follow in the footsteps of Radharani. And devotees in Vrindavan put themselves under the care of Radharani in order to achieve perfection in their devotional service. In other words, devotional service is not an activity of this material world. It is directly under the control of Radharani. In Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that Mahatmas or great souls are under the protection of the Ivi Prakriti, the internal energy of Radharani. So being directly under the control of the internal potency of Krishna, devotional service attracts even Krishna himself. This fact is corroborated by Krishna in 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 14th chapter, verse 20, where he says, "My dear Uddhava, you may know it from me that the attraction I feel for devotional service rendered by my devotees is not to be attained even by the performance of mystic yoga, philosophical speculation, ritualistic sacrifice, the study of the Vedas, the practice of severe austerities, or giving of everything in charity. They are, of course, very nice activities, but they are not attractive to me as a transcendental loving service rendered by my devotees." How Krishna became attracted by devotional service of his devotees is described by Narada in the Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, 10th chapter, verse 48 and 49. There Narada addressed King Yudhishthira while the king is appreciating the glories of the character of Prahlad Maharaj. A devotee always appreciates the activities of other devotees. Yudhishthira Maharaj was appreciating the qualities of Prahlad, and that is a symptom of a pure devotee. A pure devotee never thinks himself as great. He always thinks that other devotees are greater than himself. The king was thinking, Prahlad Maharaj is actually a devotee of the Lord, while I am nothing. And while thinking in this way, he was addressed by Narada as follows. "My dear King Yudhishthira, you, the Pandava brothers, are the only fortunate people in the world. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared on this planet and is presenting himself to you as an ordinary human being. He is always with you in all circumstances. He is living with you and covering himself from the eyes of others. He is living with you and covering himself from the eyes of others. Others cannot understand that he is the Supreme Lord, but he is still living with you as your cousin, as your friend, and even as your messenger. Therefore, you must know that nobody in this world is more fortunate than you. In Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna appeared in his universal form, Arjuna prayed, "My dear Krishna, I thought of you as my cousin, brother, and so I have shown this respect to you in so many ways, calling you Krishna or friend. But you are so great that I cannot understand." So that was the position of the Pandavas. Although Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the greatest among all greats, he remained with those loyal brothers, being attracted by their devotion, by their friendship, and by their love. That is the proof of how great this process of devotional service is. It can attract even the Supreme Personality of Godhead. God is great, but devotional service is greater than God because it attracts Him. People who are not in devotional service can never understand what great value is in rendering service to the Lord. So I'll read again the continuation of the meditation of the gopis, their devotion. So we can see and understand what love is, what is devotional service, what attracts Lord Krishna. One gopi said, "My dear friend, Krishna and Balaram are nicely dressed with earrings and pearl necklace. They enjoy themselves on the top of Govardhan Hill, and everything becomes absorbed in the transcendental pleasure when Krishna plays on his flute, charming the whole created manifestation. When he plays, the cloud stops their loud thundering and appear of him. Rather than disturb the vibration of his flute, they respond with mild thunder and so congratulate Krishna as their friend. Krishna is accepted as the friend of the cloud because both the cloud and Krishna satisfy the people when they are disturbed. When the people are burning due to excessive heat, the clouds satisfy them with rain. Similarly, when people in materialistic life become disturbed by the blazing fire of material pangs, Krishna gives them relief. The cloud and Krishna, having the same bodily color also, are considered to be friends. Desiring to congratulate its superior friend, the cloud poured not water but small flowers and covered the head of Krishna to protect him from the scorching sunshine. One of the gopis told Mother Yasoda, "My dear mother, your son is very expert among the cowherd boys. He knows all the different arts, how to tend the cows, how to play the flute. He composes his own songs, and to sing them, he puts his flute to his mouth. When he plays, either in the morning or in the evening, all the demigods, like Lord Shiva, Brahma, and Indra, and Chandra, bow their heads and listen with great attention. Although they're very learned and expert, they cannot understand the musical arrangement of Krishna's flute. They simply listen attentively and try to understand, but become bewildered and nothing more." Another gopi said, "My dear friend, when Krishna returns home with his cows and the footprints of the soles of his feet, with plug, thunderbolt, trident, and lotus flower, relieves the pain the earth feels when the cow traverses it. So there are signs on the lotus feet on the soul of Lord Krishna. It is the plug, the thunderbolt, the trident, and the lotus flower imprinted on the soul of Lord Krishna." So that is the presentation or manifestation of Krishna, God. So we should look if we have those manifestations on our souls. None, but only dead skin. They simply listen. Krishna had many thousands. Another gopi said, "My dear friends, when Krishna returns home with his cows, that footprint of his soul or his feet with plug, thunderbolt, trident, and lotus flower, relieve the pain of earth, feels when the cow traverses it. He walks in a stride which is so attractive, and he carries his flute just by looking at him. We become lusty and enjoy his company. At the time our movement cease, we become just like trees and stand perfectly still. We even forget what we look alike, what we look like. Krishna had many thousands of cows, and they were divided into groups according to their colors. They were also differently named according to color. When he would return from the pasturing ground, he would find all the cows gathered. As Vaishnavas count 108 beads, which represent 108 individual gopis, so Krishna would also chant 108 different groups of cows. When Krishna returns, he is garlanded with tulsi leaves. A gopi described him to a friend. He puts his hand on the shoulder of a cowherd boyfriend, and he begins to blow his transcendental flute. The wives of the black deer become enchanted upon hearing the vibration of his flute, which resembled the vibration of the binya. The deer came to Krishna and became so charmed that they stand still, forgetting their homes and husband, like us, who are enchanted by the ocean of the transcendental qualities of Krishna. The she-deer becomes enchanted by the vibration of his flute. Another gopi told Mother Yasoda, "My dear mother, when your son returns home, he decorates himself with the buds of the kunda flower, and just to enlighten and gladden his friends, he blows his flute. The breeze blowing from the south pleases the atmosphere because it's fragrant and very cool. Demigods like the Gandharvas and the Siddhas take advantage of the atmosphere and offer prayers to Krishna by sounding their bugles and drums. Krishna is very kind to the inhabitants of Brajabhumi, Vrindavan, and when he returns with his cows and friends, he is reminded as the lifter of Govardhan Hill. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the most exalted demigods like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva come down to offer their evening prayers, and they accompany the cowherd boys in glorifying the qualities of Krishna. Krishna is compared with the moon, born in the ocean in the womb of Devaki. When he returns in the evening, it appears that he is fatigued, but still tries to gladden the inhabitants of Vrindavan by his auspicious presence. When Krishna returns garlanded with flowers, his face looks beautiful. He walks into Vrindavan with a stride just like an elephant and slowly enters his home. Upon his return, the men and women and cows of Vrindavan immediately forget the scorching heat of the day. Such description of Krishna's transcendental pastimes and activities were remembered by the gopis during his absence from Vrindavan. They give us some idea of Krishna's attraction. Everyone and everything is attracted to Krishna. That is the perfect description of Krishna's attraction. The example of the gopis is very instructive to persons who are trying to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness. One can very easily associate with Krishna simply by remembering the transcendental pastimes. Everyone has a tendency to love someone. That Krishna should be the object of love is the central point of Krishna consciousness. By constantly chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and remembering the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, one can be fully in Krishna consciousness and thus make his life sublime and fruitful. Thus end of Bhaktivedanta purport of the 13th chapter of Krishna, the gopis feeling separation. So, we are fortunate because Lord Krishna came and walked on planet Earth in Vrindavan. We are also very fortunate to come in contact with his confidential, loving servant, the saintly person coming in the long line of Parampara, who are all made servants of Radha and Krishna. So, we are advised here to follow in the footsteps of the resident of Vrindavan. So, what is that process? It is meditation upon the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Person, His glories. So now we can check what makes us miserable. our meditation upon this temporary material world, which is dead, inanimate matter, non-enduring. That is our meditation. Our mind is so much geared in meditating and focusing upon something that is not enduring. The living entity, us, we are enduring, we are eternal. That is the difference. Material energy, material form is non-enduring, not eternal. Although material energy is eternal, but the form you see here through your senses, wherein the mind is so much attached, the meditation we do because of our exposure to this material world has encumbered, has put us in a world of emptiness and loneliness. So it's very hard for the living entity to get away from this meditation of suffering because we have identified ourselves falsely as this material body. So the process we follow is the purificatory process. Krishna himself purifies us from this misconception and covering. We now begin to understand who we are, life. And now we can meditate and direct the mind. The mind becomes our friend. And direct it and gear it towards what we're always longing. We're longing for love. We're longing for happiness that is eternal. So we must be aware that for so long we have been meditating upon the non-enduring material energy. The forms, this material world, a different energy from us, matter. I'm not this body. I'm the person inside this body, and my senses are geared in meditation, focus upon this material world, because I'm so much engrossed in false bodily identification. So the first step in the right direction to be able to attract Lord Krishna is to be established in our true understanding of our true nature as eternally life, a different energy from matter, transcendental to this material world. But because we are not all powerful, we can become covered by the material energy. Now we have become covered. We have become blind. But Krishna is so kind. He comes. The most fortunate person is someone, to the mercy of Lord Krishna, comes in contact with the confidential loving servant of Radharani and Krishna, our Gurudev, who can guide us. So see how fortunate we are, that even the saintly person are telling us, advising us how fortunate we are. And in our fortunate situation, we should not follow the dictates of the mind, but rather follow the dictates of our heart. What is your longing, all of you? You want to serve someone. You want to love someone. You want a perfect person you can embrace, you can cuddle, whom you can take shelter and experience this shelter or refuge wherein you experience someone caring for you, and your love is now direct or repours in reciprocation with that person. And that person is Krishna. And that can be achieved through the guidance of the followers of Radharani, the gopis in Vrindavan. They're saintly person, transcendentalists. So Krishna is attracted with their love. So how do we attract Krishna, the Supreme Person? It's love. Because Krishna is very greedy for love. And what happened is that what is inseparable from us, we have thrown it away. We should offer it to the Lord of Love, Krishna. Just like the gopis in Vrindavan. They meditate upon the Supreme Person. So that is the greatest benefit we have come into. The instructing spiritual master who are resident of Vrindavan, giving us guidance. This book, Srimad Bhagavatam, was transcendentally written in Sanskrit by Lord Vyasadeva, Krishna himself. I'll tell you one story. Lord Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of God, wrote the Vedas, but he still is not satisfied. And he met Narada. You know what Narada Muni said to him? Write down the glories of Lord Krishna and his pastime. So he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, topics concerning the eternal pastimes of God. So we can remember and meditate upon the sweetness of the world of pure devotional service. And through example of the gopis in Vrindavan, Krishna is not present with them. But because their meditation is the experience, every day they experience, when Krishna left, they remember the beauty, the sweetness, the care. Krishna's waking up in the morning, going to the pasturing ground, lifting Govardhan Hill, playing with his friends. That is their meditation because their love is simply Krishna. They have fallen in love. So, they're giving us advice to be connected with that world of devotion by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And the holy names is not different from God. We may be in this world, in this body now. While we are in this body, we are away from the Lord. It is better to be out of this body and with the Lord. But in either case, to be in the body or out of the body, our goal in life, our life should be rendering pure loving devotional service to the Supreme Person. Devotional service begins with chanting the holy names. The prayer we chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're praying, my dear Lord Krishna, please engage me in your loving, pure devotional service. And it is the foundation of our relationship with God, as what God have written in Scripture. So I'll read to you here the glories of the holy name by God Himself, Lord Chaitanya. So we can be very, very secured. And the mind can be directed upon a power that is more powerful than the mind, matter. It is life. It is Krishna. And what we should do is to be in harmony, in parallel with that world. Glory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan movement. I'll read here, put it in mind so you can meditate upon it and be very secured. The guidance of Lord Chaitanya, of Krishna Himself, how He embraces us with wisdom. Because we are ignorant of our relationship with God. We are not really connected with that sweetness. So He gives us Krishna Himself. God comes. So here, I'll read this. Glory, Jaya Jaya, to Sri Krishna Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy names, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years together. All our sinful life, sinful activities, the effects of good karma and bad karma, our conditioning with the three modes of material nature. Thus, the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death is extinguished. That is the power of Krishna, the holy names. Thus, this Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spread the rays of benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge, of pure loving service, devotional service. What attracts Lord Krishna is pure love of God. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it helps to have a taste of full nectar, which we are always anxious. So when Lord Krishna left Vrindavan, went to Mathura or Dwarka, the gopis, in meditation, remembering Lord Krishna, day out, day in, eternally, are very close with Krishna. Because the holy names, the pastimes, and the glories of Lord Krishna are not different from Him. It enthuses, it gives motivation. the heart, the life of someone who is in this pure transcendental meditation glides towards Lord Krishna, and he remembers the glories of Lord Krishna, and he experienced the sweetness that even though Lord Krishna is separated from him, his enthusiasm becomes stronger. His hankering to be with Krishna, although he's not present physically, through that meditation becomes very strong. And that gives the person the highest taste of experiencing loving the Supreme Person. And if we follow that path, it will protect us. That's why I'll give you one example. If a person understands this, you may be for example, you come in contact with the pure loving servant of God, our instructing spiritual master, and especially our initiating spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So now, in your heart, you have this desire to know and serve God. But in the face of adversity, in the face of temptation, in the face of the influence of the three modes of material nature, an illusion, you go out, you look around, it's a big supermarket offering a lot of material enjoyment and amenities. But when you are in meditation of someone you love, to carry out a task, to be close with him, to take that trust, to be confidential friend, you're able to meditate upon the care and love and the trust that he has given you. And when you are out in this world, in these trying times and all the influence of illusion, you can hold on because your heart meditation is upon pleasing God. Where your heart is, that's where your mind will go. When you're making progress in spiritual life, getting closer to Krishna, that's where your heart will go. That's where your mind will go. And the mind can be curbed because Krishna's love is more powerful. Krishna's affection and our affection in loving reciprocation is more powerful than the happiness that is being offered by Maya. That's why the gopis, when they discuss about their two eyes, they criticize the creator of this universe. When they look at the form of Krishna, they said, the creator is not really perfect creator. He makes our eyes, with our eyelids blink, that we cannot focus and see Lord Krishna without, lull. Just see Krishna. And not only that, He has just given us two eyes. He should have given us millions of eyes so we can see the beauty of Lord Krishna. He has given us one mouth. He should have given us millions of mouths to glorify Lord Krishna to our heart's content. So you can see now, engage. What words are you singing? What sound are you singing? What is your meditation? If you meditate, the life tries to find happiness and comfort in this dead world, then you're dead. You're the living dead. So don't blame God. Don't blame God. Don't blame your existence in this world. It's not true that God is testing you. God knows the predicament we're facing. We are insignificant in this space, in this world, in Maya. The adversity we're facing, the task, it's so great. We're so insignificant. That's why the devotee prays, my dear Lord, please kindly pick me up and be sheltered under your lotus feet. And what is that shelter? It is giving our heart, our life, our whole being in following the footsteps of the resident of Vrindavan, Radharani. So our progress will not be hindered in our endeavor to achieve success, to be resituated, reinstated in the world of pure devotion and service. That is what is being offered to us. People, individuals, they join churches, they join groups, and they just give, certain tithing. What is 10%, 15%? How come you come to the process of pure devotional service? They're not asking anything. But if you look closely, Krishna is asking everything. Your life, your heart, because that will be what is your offering, your love. That is pure devotional service. That is the teachings of Lord Jesus Christ. To love the Father with thy whole heart, thy whole mind, thy whole being. And that will be our protection. That will be our shelter. And Krishna assures us in Bhagavad Gita, through the instruction of our instructing spiritual master, Lord Vyasadeva wrote Bhagavad Gita and translated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, establishing, when Lord Krishna tells us, to those who are constantly devoted unto me, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. As they surrender accordingly, I protect them. Just surrender unto me and I'll protect you. Abandon all varieties of religion. So that is the status, the state of consciousness of the residents of Vrindavan, the gopis. So we're not teaching here sentiment. We're teaching here a science. A certain activity leads to a certain consciousness. So the living entity you like, if we engage in the purificatory process of connecting our life with the transcendental world of pure love of God, then we succeed. But if we misuse this time and opportunity to be in this body now and throw away God's love, the opportunity, and focus upon this temporary world, then when we are in for a ride, we're gonna get kicked in the face. Because the master of your life now, whom you serve at the time you're leaving this world, will be your master. Your master now will be your master at the time of death. So look at everyone who passes away. Di ba? Somebody who dies. Di ba? They're crying, Ma, I don't want to leave you. And all the people who are attached to him are also, don't leave me, don't leave me. So just look. But Maya is very strong. And all these people who don't know anything, who are trying to portray themselves as saintly with a shell, a shell with no substance, cannot give you the substance of love for God because they don't have love for God. It is covered. They have directed that upon this world. And they begin to tell you, God is testing you. Why will God test you? You're already drowning. He comes to pick you up. But they tell, no, it's a test if you can swim. Your mother just died, You have disease. You now have cancer. You can be a successful, what do they call that? A cancer survivor, And you begin to think, but I want to survive death. And you're telling me I should be a survivor? But in material ignorance, thinking you're the body, you're gonna die. But if you understand the most basic elementary truth about your transcendental nature, the living entity will exist eternally. He's a different energy from matter, life, me. I can leave this body. This body will break down. You've seen somebody die. Everybody's crying, Mama, Mama, why did you leave us? And embrace the body. All the chemicals are there. It's still hot. But Mama, someone left. But we cannot see that because we have become so engrossed. We have become blinded. Our taste is for the dead. That's why when Jesus Christ was asked by this person Master, I want to follow you. And he said, come, follow me. And he said, I have to bury the dead first, my relative who died. And Jesus said, let the dead bury the dead. How can the dead bury the dead? So those who are in material consciousness, who are engrossed, the living dead. So you have to ask this question. We, the life, by nature, we're joyful and happy. How come we're dead? Because our meditation is focused upon this temporary material world. So it's a very simple science. It's not sentiments, it's a reality. We're not talking here of, it's not that the saintly person, they're kings, administrators. They have undergone the austerity to live under the ashram of the spiritual master, being taught the science of economics, the Vedas. All what you see here in this material world, it's not that those who are practicing spiritual life, who are trying to focus their life towards loving Krishna, are doo-doo head or dumb? No. Have you seen the structure, the engineering structure of the ancient times? Who have ever done that now? None. Where did they learn that? It is a science they learned from their teacher. The kings, how do they administer? It is a science they learned from saintly person. But because we are so much limited and engrossed, we think we are following the blind. You go to the university, they don't talk about God. You know what they do? Okay, all of you, let's go out and put that banner and we sing. Tan, 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 tan. And every day you stand there. Di ba? That's what you do, di ba? Panatang makabayan, di ba? Di ba? Handa akong mamatay at pumatay para sa sarili ko. Di ba? Talagang I've seen people, I was in Cebu during the time, and all these people, materialism, imperialist government, we should join the leftist movement. And immediately, a note came. Uy, the embassy called me, I have a green card. And the leaders of this leftist movement immediately, let's go home and go to America. Now they're in America. But previously, they're saying, we have been oppressed by the imperialistic government. America. This should be a country for the people, run by the people, for the people, not by the economists who controls us. And they go there, fight, bring down the government, Di ba? Follow America, down America, down with imperialism. And the picture of the President of America, they burn it. And now comes, it's real, Hey, my mom was able to get 2 green cards for us. Yeah. Immediately they're there. And now also some people, even disciples and students of Srila Prabhupada, they come here, America people are unhappy and suffering. And one student asked, how come you're there, ma'am? How come you're there? You begin to tell, America is a country that's so materialistic, and you see all the people who are drug addicts under drugs, and they're very miserable. And he said, I'm going to stay here for a week. I got to go back to America. So that's my point. We get off track. So you can see, we're not talking here nonsense. We're talking here about you, your life. You want to become happy? You want to become secured? Then help Krishna. Enter the world of pure devotional service. Now you can make a choice to follow a fool, an ignorant person, a blind person who is a shell portraying himself as a pure lover of God or a saintly person to guide you, but blabbers nonsense. What nonsense do they tell us? Just surrender. Because at the end, at the time of Judgment Day, you will all be resurrected and rise up from the grave. Teka. Ano yung tinuturo mo, sir? Paano yun, sir? How is that? That the bodies that's making up that body that was burned is transformed into a different form, and what's left there in the grave is his food and the molecules there. And you said, at the time of resurrection, everybody will rise. So imagine mo, isang paa, dalawang kamay, isang ulo, tatayo lahat. They are not experiencing the sweetness of devotional service. When you come to be very close with and also experiencing even a drop of that ocean, a drop, then you experience there's nothing more to be gained. This is my life. So you should check. Meron man tayong check and balance. Parang thermometer ba? Pag nilagay nyo sa armpit nyo. Ngayon, hindi na ganun, di ba? Saan man nilalagay yung thermometer ngayon? Dito na, no? Hindi na, Pag nilagay, malalaman nyo kung ano yung temperature nyo. Nag-iinit ba kayo? Umaapoy ba kayo? O nanlalamig kayo? So let's continue this discussion next week, okay? So we can have a clear understanding. Haribol Namaste. Let's chant and remember the glories of the gopis in Vrindavan and their meditation. Haribol Namaste.
Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa naming may, Morat karuna sarupaya, Radha Krishna Pastimes.
Paramahamsa Siddhaswarupananda, Radha Krishna
Krsna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Madana, Bhakti Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Goranga,
Hare Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Hare Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Goranga.
Hare Jaya Gurudev, Hare Jaya Guranga, Hare Jaya Gurudev, Hare Jaya Guranga,
Jaya Jaya Shiva Prabhupada,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Gurudev,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Shiva Prabhupada,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Hare Jaya Gurudev, Hare Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Hare Jaya Gurudev,
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda,
Krishna,
Ananda Paramahamsa,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda,
Krishna,
Ananda Paramahamsa.
Hare Jaya Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa, Hare Jaya Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda,